Hey, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Clear to Send podcast. I'm your co host, Roel, and I'm joined here with Francois. How are you, Francois?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to talk about some of the stuff that has happened at Mobility Field Day 13. And this episode, we're going to talk about Cisco Meraki, what is new, what did we like about it, and specifically wanted to talk about the Meraki Campus Gateway or MCG. What do you think,
Mhm.
Francois?
Well, I feel like they're pushing more and more the Meraki brand, and
Yeah,
historically, we used to see Meraki a lot in like restaurants, retails, and it looks like we're seeing more and more in enterprise. And then some enterprises they have larger networks, and they have different architecture, and they need the data to be centralized. Um, and so they came up with the campus gateway, which
yeah.
allow them to have like a centralized. Uh, Pieces of equipment in the network that will terminate the traffic coming from all of the APs.
Yeah, a very
Yeah.
big shift from what they've been doing traditionally, right? You generally have
Mm-hmm.
access points that just connect to a switch and then go up to the cloud, right? The traffic gets dropped locally, control traffic up to the dashboard. Excuse me. And I think it's what I find most interesting about it is they just come out with it now, right? Meraki has
Mm-hmm.
been around for a while, and I don't know what prompted the shift to create a campus gateway. It's not a controller. I mean, I think it's very shy of becoming one. It actually runs on
Mm-hmm.
9800 hardware, but it's not a 9800. And it does centrally tunnel everything except for management. So
Mm-hmm.
the management of your APs goes directly to the dashboard, and you actually manage this campus gateway in the dashboard, but all the control plane traffic, all of things like broadcast, ARP, MDNS, you name it, goes through this campus gateway. Now, I think higher ed just kind of drove Meraki in this direction because if you're in a very large network, changing your network architecture to go from controller based to now cloud managed and having to change all your switch ports and add all
Mm-hmm.
your VLANs everywhere. That can become a challenge for many networks. So that's maybe the reason why they came out with the Meraki Campus Gateway. I think
Yeah.
it's a little late in the game, being that there's
Mm-hmm.
so many vendors that have something, um, and this being so new that it's not your easy plug and play. From what we saw at Mobility Field Day, there is quite a bit of configuration that needs to be done in the dashboard, and some assumptions aren't there where you would make an assumption with maybe a Meraki switch and connecting it to your network, but you do have to plan the
Mm-hmm.
configuration and do the configuration in order for this to work properly.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons why they would want to do this now. The first one that I see is it might be customer driven, because those larger organizations they're seeing that Cisco and Meraki are kind of not really merging, but like they use the same hardware for some of the APs. So some customer they may be like, okay, it's the same hardware that we liked with Catalyst, but then it's easy to manage with Meraki. Let's just go with Meraki. But
Yeah,
then, oh, we have this big architecture that we need to work with. So maybe some of it is customer driven, where the customers are like, okay, you need to provide some sort of solution. Um, and then the fact that they're the Meraki and the Catalyst are kind of becoming like one. They have like one SKU now for some of the APs. They're kind of making it easier to go back and forth between the two.
yeah,
So maybe that's the reason why they're doing it right now. And they're probably trying to figure out a way to do it in the Meraki way, like you said, more the plug and play way. You just plug it and it's discovered by the cloud and it works. Um, like you said, there's still a little bit of configurations to do on the box before you can have it up and running. So they're probably still trying to figuring that out.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you. No doubt, it's customer driven. There's probably a lot of different um, universities or colleges that have a controller model. Let's just assume
Mm-hmm.
it's a Cisco controller, and they need to upgrade. Um, there was that announcement about, what was it, the 8540s going end of life. So you've got to, or end of sale. I forget which one, but you've now have to migrate to 9800s. But maybe the 9800 is a little bit of a jump and change in how you manage your network, and so you want to
Mm-hmm.
simplify it, make it easier. And the instead of, like you said, you've got Catalyst APs, you don't want to change all your APs to new Meraki APs. So why not just shift that management of those APs to Meraki? But hey, I can't just change my network for this to
Mm-hmm.
to implement. And so hence the Meraki Campus Gateway, where it'll, you just plumb that in instead of the controller, all the APs send us traffic there. You'll be able to tunnel WLANs. But I think it does pose a challenge for Cisco Meraki, because I feel like there's some back and forth going between the Meraki team and the Catalyst team, and how they
Mm-hmm.
want to identify themselves. Is it Meraki?
Yeah.
Is it Catalyst? Which one is it? It's now Cisco Meraki Catalyst Wireless APs. And
Yes.
I think it becomes a confusion point sometimes when you're talking to people. But I will say that dealing with Meraki licensing is so much easier than having to deal with controller licensing, right? One SKU for the hardware, one SKU for the licensing, and and then you're done.
Yeah, I think they might, have to work on the messaging and how they want to position the different solutions. But now that they have the campus gateway for Meraki, I might see a future where they're starting to integrate more and more all of the Catalyst hardware into the Meraki platform, and then just transition to Meraki,
Yeah,
um, and maybe keeping controllers for very, very specific use cases, um, and then kind of moving away from the Catalyst brand and having more Meraki, maybe adding more features in the Meraki dashboard.
yeah.
I don't know.
Which they
It could
are.
be
They
like
they
easier.
they are adding a ton more features now. I think from the last mobility field day, they had made those announcements, and now
Hmm.
those features are in, and so now they're making, optimization changes. I still think there's a lot of work to be done in terms of workflow and how you
Hmm.
go about troubleshooting, but
Hmm.
this is one step they're moving forward with, and I still think they're kind of behind. But there's room to grow, there's room for improvement, and I think that's where we need to see how they'll do in the next few months and through the next year.
Yeah, interesting. I guess we can watch the new set of APs that they'll announce on both sides and see how they do it. And if it's like, oh, it's one SKU for everything, maybe
Yeah,
that'll give us a cue in terms of what they want to do. Um, One thing I took note on and I wanted to mention is that it's they're not using CapWAP to create that tunnel between the
no,
APs and the gateway. They're using the QUIC protocol, so
yeah.
it's a little different from what we're used to with the Catalyst APs.
Now, is the QUIC protocol the same QUIC protocol that's used by browsers, by like Chrome?
I
I
have
don't
no
even know if
idea.
that's true. I I only know about that because having to deal with some firewall stuff and how Chrome
Hmm.
sends traffic, it uses QUIC, and I should probably dig into whether or not that's the same, because if we have firewall rules that just block QUIC altogether, then that would be that would
Hmm.
create an issue with APs creating tunnels back to the campus gateway. But yeah, it's not a
Hmm.
CapWAP tunnel. Um, it's the QUIC protocol. I'm not sure what drove them to change. Maybe because CapWAP's just strictly for the controllers, and they had to use a different tunneling protocol. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I'm guessing it's more efficient. CapWAP is they've been using that for years, right?
yeah,
Maybe there's a better way to do it nowadays.
yeah, that's true. Kind of improve on what they've been using. Maybe use something that will be more widely utilized everywhere. A
Hmm.
protocol that's just accepted, and because we're going from a Meraki AP to a campus gateway and then managing it in the cloud. There's a lot of pieces there, right?
Hmm.
It does add some complexity to a network where you've got this. this box that basically sees all your traffic, and it is managed by the dashboard. A lot of these engineers who are probably coming from the Cisco wireless controller world are used to having some sort of CLI access to view a lot of things. And now you're
Mhm.
just going to have to use a dashboard, which traditionally has not given you any kind of CLI access. So I wonder how Meraki will handle those or field those kind of questions. Will they provide some of the features that are most widely used by engineers when they CLI into a controller? I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I guess we'll see. Cisco Live is actually coming right on the corner. They usually like to announce different things, so we'll
Yeah.
kind of keep you guys up to date with what's new with Cisco early in this summer. If you want to watch everything that Cisco talked about, they talked a little bit about Wi-Fi 7, MLO, security. So if you want to watch all of this, you can go back to the Tech Field Day YouTube channel. You'll find the videos there. And it will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.